It's Thursday, September 5th, 2024. Another known wolf goes on a shooting spree in Georgia. Kamala wastes no time grabbing guns, and Fani Willis is back in the news. Next on the AM Update. Tomorrow is another edition of Ask or Tell Me Anything. You can ask me any question you want. Tell me any news story you think needs covered. Let me know at Real AM Update on X. Look for the pinned tweet at the top of the profile. And now on with the Thursday edition. A 14-year-old student opened fire at a Georgia high school and killed 4 people on Wednesday, sending students scrambling for shelter in their classrooms and eventually to the football stadium as officers swarmed the campus and parents raced to find out if their children were safe. The dead were identified as 2 students and 2 teachers at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, about an hour's drive from Atlanta. At least 9 other people, 8 students and 1 teacher, were taken to hospitals with injuries. Authorities say the shooter surrendered to school resource officers, and authorities also identified the shooter later on in the day.
As the sheriff mentioned earlier this morning, the shooter is in custody. His name is Colt, that's C-O-L-T, Gray. He is a 14-year-old student here at the school, G-R-A-Y. He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult.
The Federal Bureau of Investigations announced late last night that this guy was on their radar, saying in a statement, quote, "In May of 2023, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center received several anonymous tips about online threats to commit a school shooting at an unidentified location and time. The online threats contained photographs of guns. Within 24 hours, the FBI determined the online post originated in Georgia, and the FBI's Atlanta field office referred the information to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office for action. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office located a possible subject, a 13-year-old male, and interviewed him and his father. The father stated he had hunting guns in the house, but the subject did not have unsupervised access to them. The subject denied making the threats online. Jackson County alerted local schools for continued monitoring of the subject," end quote. Again, this individual who carried out this shooting yesterday morning at that Georgia school was on the radar of the FBI. Kamala Harris at a rally yesterday wasted no time attempting to grab guns.
An assault weapons ban and universal background checks and red flag laws. Because we are clear on that point, it is a false choice to say you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I know we need reasonable gun safety laws in our country.
Last night was supposed to be the first presidential debate. Kamala Harris decided not to do it, so instead Donald Trump appeared with Sean Hannity for a town hall last night on Fox News, where he took Kamala to task on the sorry state of the southern border.
From 22 people recently came from the Congo in Africa. Where do you come from? Prison. What did you do? We refused to say. We're letting everybody in. We're letting everybody in. Take a look at Aurora in Colorado, where Venezuelans are taking over the whole town. They're taking over buildings, the whole town. And the sheriff, who can blame them? I mean, they have AK-47s. You saw it the other day. They're knocking down doors and occupying apartments of people. The people are petrified. And it's getting worse and worse. You look at New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and now you look at all over the place. You take a look at Iowa, Idaho, places that never had the problem. They're pouring in. 21 million people, that's bigger than New York. And we have to stop it. And we have to do the largest deportation in the history.
Moving on and checking in on MSNBC and what they're thinking of Kamala Harris at this juncture. Of course, polling for her all over the place has been absolutely awful over the last week. Here's Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe regarding Kamala's economic policies.
If you're a capitalist, if you believe in American capitalism, as I believe in American capitalism, unapologetically believe in American capitalism, it has lifted more people out of poverty than any other economic system ever. It has its problems. The sharp edges always need to be rounded off where it doesn't get in the way of competition and free markets. But if you believe in American capitalism, you should be worried about Donald Trump being elected.
So Joe Scarborough's message to his audience is that if you are an American capitalist, you have to support Kamala Harris, who wants to tax unrealized gains. Yeah, I don't cover MSNBC pundits and clips all that often like Morning Joe, because this is the kind of fare that they actually offer up. And their audience, of course, eats it up. Of course, they're listening at home, watching at home and saying, yes, I'm a capitalist and I can support Kamala Harris. There's something strangely comforting that no matter what the issue is, MSNBC always has a wonderful spin for whomever the Democrat du jour is, a wonderful spin for them. It's like the train's running on time. You can always just count on the most bat crap, crazy takes coming out of MSNBC. Just checking in on them periodically. Meanwhile, on Fox News, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri revealed that his whistleblower reports on the attempted assassination of Donald Trump indicate that the majority of agents assigned to protect Trump at that rally were actually Homeland Security personnel with limited protective training. Here he is with Jesse Waters.
Well, what I've heard tonight, Jesse, is that most of the agents who were there at that rally in Butler were not Secret Service agents. They were, in fact, Homeland Security agents. And get this, most of those Homeland Security agents, the only training that they received was an online webinar, a 2-hour online webinar. And I'm told that about half the time, the sound to the webinar didn't even work. So think about this. The President of the United States, former President of the United States, Donald Trump, is sent out on stage. Most of the people there aren't trained. They're not qualified. They only got a webinar training, and even that didn't work. It is absolutely outrageous.
You're saying, and if we're to believe that there's this big Iranian threat, that this is coming down the pike and they had to beef up security, their idea of beefing up security was not putting more Secret Service agents and counter snipers, was just throwing in a bunch of guys that have never done this before from Homeland Security and sending them into some Zoom training that didn't work?
That's exactly right. I'm told that actually agents, Homeland Security agents, were pulled off of child exploitation cases, child endangerment cases, the stuff they normally do. They don't normally do protective detail work at all. They were pulled off those cases, said, here, you're going to go guard the former president of the United States. Watch this webinar. Oops, it doesn't really work. Oh, that's all right. Go out into the field anyway. Jesse, this is a nightmare. And we still have no answers. The only reason we know this stuff is because of whistleblowers. It's outrageous.
That is Josh Hawley on Fox News revealing that whistleblowers have informed him that it was not actually Secret Service agents on Donald Trump's protective detail during the attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. It was actually poorly trained at that, Homeland Security agents. What is the innocent explanation for that? The daughter of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis was arrested last month for allegedly driving with a suspended license. Kenaya Willis, 25 years old, was pulled over in Tyrone, Georgia on August 24th for driving while using a cell phone when police discovered she also had a revoked license. The Texas Southern University student, whose mom is leading the prosecution of former President Donald Trump's 2020 Georgia election interference alleged case, is reportedly pregnant as well. She told an officer she'd been using her cell phone due to her mother calling related to her pregnancy. Kenaya claims she was unaware that her license had been revoked since May 13th, also for allegedly driving while it was suspended. After Kenaya was arrested, her mother swung by the scene to secure her daughter's 2010 Nissan Altima. You'll recall perhaps that Fani Willis testified in court during what was supposed to be the trial of Donald Trump that her relationship with her lover Nathan Wade ended many months ago. In video of the arrest of her daughter, where Fani Willis showed up to secure her daughter's car, Wade can be seen in the background showing up with Fani when her daughter got arrested. This story will just not end. Pastor Greg Locke's home was a crime scene early Wednesday morning with shell casings littering his driveway and police officers standing by. That's according to a social media statement posted by Locke and local police. 1 minute before Locke and all but one of his family members pulled into their driveway, a gunman with a fully automatic weapon pulled up to the residence and swept gunfire across the house, garage, and a vehicle parked in the driveway. The Wilson County Sheriff's Office confirmed to World Magazine that officers arrived at Locke's home at around 10:30 p.m. after receiving reports someone had opened fire on the home. Deputies found 30 to 40 shell casings in the driveway. One of Locke's children was inside the house at the time of the attack, but was not in an area of the home struck by the gunfire. Police confirmed that no one was injured in the attack. One of the bullets punched through the headboard of Locke's youngest daughter's bed and lodged in her pillow, according to Locke. The pastor added that police escorted the family to a hotel where they spent the night. Detectives were investigating the incident. That's also according to that sheriff's office. And finally, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. reveals the real reason pediatricians, a lot of them, won't accept you if you don't jab your kids to the hilt. Here he is in an appearance recently.
Typical pediatrician's office makes about 50% of its funding comes from vaccines, not actually from selling the individual vaccines, from the traffic. I mean, when I was a kid, I went to the doctor when I needed stitches, and that's it. And today, every kid goes to the doctor at least 10 times to get their vaccines, and that foot traffic in and out of the office is a major part of the business plan for the pediatrician office. And they're also then rewarded by Blue Cross Blue Shield, which has a reward schedule for pediatricians who vaccinate 80 or 85% of the kids in their office. Get these giant bonuses, I think $40 or $400 per kid, huge amounts of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars that they make, making sure that 85% of the kids are vaccinated. And that's why they throw you out of the office if you fight back. It's not because they care so much about your particular kid. It's that you'll throw off the metrics and you'll lose them their bonuses. And so and those schedules have now been published, so people can actually go look at the Blue Cross Blue Shield schedule, and you can see what your pediatrician is making, and it's huge amounts of money from complying. And so, they have these perverse incentives that make it so that they're not really treating your kid as an individual patient. And so your job in a democracy, in today's democracy, is to do your own research. And that's hard to do, but you need to do it.
I echo those sentiments. That is frightening, but it makes a lot of sense, as I know a number of you have children these days, or at least younger children, if you're a younger family as mine is, making those decisions about jabbing and what jabs to get or what not jabs to get, and finding a pediatrician who will actually go along with your plan and not the government's jab till they basically croak plan. That's hard to do, and it makes sense why that's such a hard push from pediatricians and why they'll push you out of their practice if you don't go along with their plans. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. revealing around 50% of pediatricians' funding coming from vaccine and vaccine manufacturers. That'll do it for a Thursday. Back at it again tomorrow. Ask or tell me anything. You can ask me any question you want. Tell me any news story you think needs covering. You can make your submissions at Real AM Update on X. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update.